In case you are unfamiliar with how the Electoral College works, I shall explain the dynamics of how the Electoral College operates. In brief, the definition of the Electoral College is the body of electors who formally elect United States President and Vice President body. It is part of our election process that was put in place by the framers of our Constitution at the Constitutional Convention of 1787. The framers didn't want our Congress alone deciding who could be president, but they were worried that if they let their people decide, most would vote for their local candidate, which would give an unfair advantage to the larger states. They wanted to create a system that made it fair for the small and large states to have an equal opportunity. A system of fair representation started in ancient Rome. The framers adopted this idea and changed it into what we know as the Electoral College. It gives each state an equal number of electors. The number of electors in each state equals the number of congressional senators, which is always 2, and the number of congressional representatives, which is different in each state because of population. It's up to each state's legislature to decide how electors are selected. In some states, electors are selected by registered voters in an election several months before the presidential election. In other states, electors are selected by elected officials in the state's political parties. Typically, electors are individuals who are loyal to their political party and pledge to vote for their party's nominees for president and vice president. This makes it very difficult for independent parties to become elected for president. Most Americans know that due to the Constitution, the Electoral College selects president over direct popular vote. Only 538 people in the 50 states and the District of Columbia can directly vote for president. Then, unfortunately, the U.S. citizens are put on the back burner and viewed as less important in every presidential election, which in my opinion is absurd and very unfair. For the past 200 years, there have been many proposed reforms and a number of critics, most trying to eliminate the Electoral College. There are many arguments in favor of and not in favor of the Electoral College that you should know about. Those against the Electoral College explain that the electoral vote has overridden the popular vote. Most Americans would agree that the person who receives the most votes should be president. A more direct election is seen by many as a more fair system with a better democratic foundation than the Electoral College system. If the Electoral College didn't exist, then the presidents would wage a campaign and advertise all across the nation instead of focusing almost all their time and effort on the Electoral College. Another downfall would be that if there is a close election, the Electoral College system could be prone to some disloyalty, for example, being bribed. On the other hand, the Electoral College reminds us of the importance of our federal system. It encourages more personal campaigning by the candidates. A lot of times, in close elections, recounts will be confirmed in 1 or 2 states, rather than millions of recounts across the country, which might be required if we had a direct election. Also, it's fun on election nights to watch the contrast between colors between the states on TV. The Electoral College helps create a clear winner when the popular vote is very close. Logically, I do not see it reasonable to leave the decision of who becomes president to someone other than us Americans. I favor the direct popular vote because I don't think it's fair for any special groups of people to have more rights than the rest of Americans. There are less of them than us. A small group's opinion are more powerful than the 300 million Americans who thrive off the laws of the land. We are the ones who reap the decisions made by our president, pay off the debts, and accept our families going into war. An important reason why it was created in the first place was because America was not educated like it is today. Today, there are many resources, and there is plenty of information available about political candidates in the newspaper and on the internet. We are not living in an era of time when the Constitution was created. We are not people who go their whole life without learning to read, working long days on the field just to be able to eat and survive. Today, every citizen is required to get an education. As educated American adults, we should be able to choose our president by direct popular vote. So, I ask America, where is the liberty and justice for all in that? However you see it, the Electoral College has its ups and downs. Some personally prefer to leave it be. I personally don't think it's very adequate. Every citizen's vote should count in America, not just the votes of partisan insiders in the Electoral College. And that was said by Representative Gene Green in Dallas, Texas, and I agree with him completely. The government should make the Electoral College an option, not a priority. Thank you.